Equality, change, and leadership in Martin Luther King's life. Martin Luther King was an American culture icon that leadership the African American people to get the equality for them in USA. He led the civil rights movement for African American people in USA around 1960 and other social movements. These movements were aimed to avoid the segregation and racism against the African American people. In those days was evident the treatment with the African American people. I mean, they were segregated for their racial condition. To avoid the segregation and racism, Luther King took a step of change. He fought to change the American people's conception, which the people of color was considered different or were less important than the white people. The African American people have underbacked the label of slaves. He was searching for equality for his community. He wanted that they have the same rights of the white people. He dreamed with a future where his sons have the same treatment and opportunities as the white people. Martin Luther King was a leadership fighter that changed the American people's mind searching equality for African American people. The leadership of Martin Luther King helped getting a better lifestyle for African American people. It was the leadership of the African American community, worked and fought to get equality for them. He demonstrated the importance of not used to and asked to get the things that we want. An example of all the activities about which he was the leadership is the March over Washington for the Work and Liberty. In 1963, March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom was based on 10 complete demands, including comprehensive civil rights legislation, desegregation of public schools, voting rights, job training and dignified work, and an increased minimum wage. The potential to expand economic opportunity and lift African Americans, other Americans of color, and white Americans out of poverty and low income status was clear, not just through direct tools such as wages and work, but also through indirect avenues such as improved educational opportunities and the opportunity to vote for political candidates who work to advance economic justice. Through the points exposed, it's very easy to see the ideas that Luther King was searching for to change the American culture. His leadership was the basis on the way to get equality in the American culture. Martin Luther King fought for the equality of the African American people. He was a leadership that demanded remove the social discrimination against the African American people in the United States, searching for equality. He wanted the recognition as citizens for the African American people. An example of the result of his fight was the promulgation of civil rights law and the voting rights law. President Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Voting Rights Act on August 6, 1965 at a ceremony attended by Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, and other civil rights leaders. The act allowed literacy tests and gave federal examiners considerable power to oversee voting practices in states that had an established pattern of denying voting rights. It had an immediate effect. A quarter of a million new black voters were registered by the end of the year in which the act was passed. This act allowed a major greater freedom and acceptation for the African American people in USA. I mean, was the president to get the equality for them. This was the beginning of the change in the American people's mind. Luther King was an agent of change in the world. Through his fight to get avoid the discrimination against the African American people in USA, he changed the racism concept which some cultures see in the society. He managed to change the conception with the African American people were considered slaves. The most important recognition that demonstrated his important work to avoid the racism and segregation and be a change generator was the Nobel Peace Prize, received in 1964. As is known, this prize is awarded to people that with actions or discoveries actually change the world in a good way. The role of Martin Luther King for African American people in USA was very important to get for them a better lifestyle and treatment. Martin Luther King led the African American people group searching for rights that give them the equality respect the white people. The Freedom's implied change in American people's mind, generating a new conception of people. Leadership, equality, and change were the values that accompanied the Martin Luther King's fight in the way to get a better lifestyle to African American people.